I present to you guys the greatest movie of all time ever, Ready Player One. So the year is 2045 and we're in Columbus, Ohio in a place called the Stacks where we're introduced to our main protagonist named Wade Wilson, who's an average 18-year-old teenager, you know, getting ready for a normal day. And it's a futuristic world as we see some NPCs playing some virtual reality games, doing anything but touching grass. But this dude right here gets his pizza delivered by a drone. I know Rod Wave is gonna have a field day when this technology finally releases. I really thought my boy Wade was heading off to school like a good boy, but nah, he enters his secret bunker instead, which is an abandoned truck. And this is basically Wade's escape from reality where he runs on his treadmill all day. But then Wade shows us a virtual reality realm called the OASIS, created by James Halliday, and you can explore any place that's inside of your imagination like Minecraft and go into that world. And watching this movie as a kid, we all thought that this type of technology would never be invented, but now we got VR chat, which is the closest thing to the OASIS, I guess. Now we're just waiting on flying cars. But inside of this world, every player has their own avatar and you can customize yourself however you want to appear. But this right here is Wade Wilson's avatar named Parzival, which many of you are probably familiar with if you know ball. And everyone in the OASIS has friends that they can obviously interact with just like real people you meet online. And then we get a nice glimpse of Planet Doom, the most dangerous planet in this reality. We got players straight duking it out. It's a war zone out there. But this right here is Parzival's best friend named H. And bro is straight chefing up like he's Curry, collecting coins and everything, cause he hits a Mario hop and then blasts Freddy Krueger out of existence, then destroys the other one, eviscerating this pterodactyl. And I can't lie, H is out there going berserk, hitting a weave, then eliminating 3 straight players in a row. He's out there moving like me in prime Fortnite, straight untouchable. Hey bro, we got a race to catch in 20 minutes. But my dog is obviously busy catching some bodies, going 2 for 2 with a sniper rifle, out here looking like prime phase rug. But these 2 players right here are Sho and Daito, who are close virtual friends with one another, and they're all trying to get their hands on this artifact called the Gregarious 120, which gives you a power boost. But the problem is, with all these loads of players, there can only be one winner, and you gotta be skilled or else you're gonna get clipped. And basically, every player starts the same. The more coins you get, the more you level up. And if you get killed, your avatar can come back to life, but you lose all of your items. Like dog, we really got people losing their minds over a VR game, actual grown-ups and even little kids. Because this dude got so pissed that he almost jumped out of the building, bro. Like, since when did video games get this serious? The look on this woman's face says it all. I really hope 2045 is not actually gonna be like this, cause we are doomed as a generation. But the mastermind behind the OASIS was James Halliday alongside his partner Ogden Morrow, who released this project back in 2025, which is literally the year we're currently living in right now. And these 2 instantly became millionaires. They were living good off that OASIS money, but sadly my boy Halliday died later in 2040 and he broadcasted a public message before his death, as he then tells everyone around the world that he hid a special Easter egg in the OASIS and the first player to find it will win
$500 billion worth and total control of the OASIS.
So Halliday switches into his in-game avatar called Anorak, and he explains how he hid 3 different keys in the OASIS in different locations, which then lead to 3 magic gates. But chat, here's the twist. These keys aren't just laying around. They're hidden somewhere in a dark room at the center of a maze. And I'm not gonna lie, if I'm one of these kids, I'm doing whatever it takes to find this Easter egg because I'm trying to get rich right now. And so now,
let the hunt for Halliday's Easter egg begin.
But real quick, make sure to subscribe because we are literally less than 10,000 subs away from hitting 100k. So we then fast forward a whole 5 years into the future and not even a single player has gotten a key and the scoreboard is still empty with no names. Like, nah, y'all are actually trash. I would have easily had all 3 keys by now cause I'm just built different.
Stop the cap!
But after all this time, one of the players actually managed to crack the first challenge. In order to win, you have to beat this race. And the only players that are still trying are the Egg Hunters alongside this group called the Sixers, who are a big corporation that work for for IOI. And they got these boys straight slaving away for the precious wage of 15 cents an hour, working 24/7 to find any clues in order to get some keys. And this right here is the head of the company, who's an evil dude named Nolan Sorrento, who's built like Mr. Turner. Oh, buddy doesn't even want to be at work right now. He's just clocking in so he can pay for his new Hellcat. Corporate America is a terrible world. Yo, what's good, H? You ready to win this race? But hold on, this guy is big as hell. Dude is a good 7'2" and built like Kratos. Like some of y'all be having the craziest looking avatars but be looking like this in real life. Stop lying to yourself. You're not a 6'2" nonchalant redhead. Pack it up, buddy. But anywho, my boy Parzival then spawns in his whip, the one straight out of Back to the Future, and it's looking mad clean. I wonder how much coins he had to pay for that. Like, I know some of y'all broke boys cannot afford this. Still taking the bus to school like you're SpongeBob. Get your money up, not your funny up.
First to the key.
First to the egg.
So we're at the Statue of Liberty with everyone lined up like it's Mario Kart, and the race finally begins with every player putting their pedal to the metal, and these guys barely have space to drive around. It's almost worse than Times Square traffic. I know my New York viewers can relate. But then Parzival peeps this red motorcycle cutting up in traffic like crazy. This driver has no regard for their life, but my dog H was using metal blades to split cars apart for literally no reason, being a meathead. Like, ref, please do something. Disqualify him from the race. Are you blind? So after a few Sixers crash into some obstacles, we then see Parzival going toe to toe with that red motorcycle, and he tells H that this is someone a whole lot familiar. It's Artemis, a famous Twitch streamer. And so as the race progresses, we see a bunch of cars get absolutely destroyed. Their driving skills might be actually worse than KSI's music. But we then see Artemis and she hits a clean Akira slide under this vehicle in slow motion. Like, when it comes to references, this movie is tough. She's really out here clip farming for her stream, while these Sixers are getting their heads taken off in the middle of the race. So Parzival and H make their way past his Tyrannosaurus Rex, barely surviving, only to see freaking King Kong chilling on top of a skyscraper. Like, nah bro, I'm not gonna lie, if that's me, I'm exiting out the race. What do you mean I gotta face Rod Wave while I'm driving? Look at how fast bro is moving past Parzival, and he's going a good 250 kilometers. But good thing for us, the finish line is right in sight, but Parzival, being smart, instantly stops the car and hits the brakes before he gets turned into a light buffet for the gorilla. Like, I can't even hold y'all. That was W decision making. If that was me, I would have flew off that ramp like there was no tomorrow. Like, you stupid idiots really think that 100 average Joes can take this absolute monster on. The first dude that rushes the gorilla is gonna get turned into absolute ground beef. So Parzival peeps that Artemis is nearing the finish line and about to win the race like Take. But any person with a brain knows that she is not gonna be able to make that jump, and so Parzival is like, hey bro, watch your jet, bro. Watch your jet, bro. And so he grabs her right off of the motorcycle in the nick of time, and then King Kong pops out of nowhere and crushes her vehicle.
Damn.
Like, I see why nobody has ever won this race. Bro was just casually camping below the bridge waiting for his prey, and some of y'all really trying to make me believe that gorillas are dumb? Like, I promise you, this Anthony Mackie thinking creature knows everything we do not. So Artemis takes off her helmet, and my boy Parzival fell in love right on sight. That snow bunny hypnosis needs to be stopped. But she was pissed, because who's gonna pay for her precious motorcycle? Not Parzival. And so he tells Artemis that his boy H can repair her bike in his workshop. We then pull up to H's laboratory, and this dude just got an iron giant just casually laying around, and the impressive thing is that bro is building it himself, and turns out H gets paid some serious coins to craft stuff for other players in the OASIS. But while H is fixing Artemis's motorcycle, we then see these two start talking and getting to know each other, but Artemis tells Parzival that they need to win this race before IOI does, even if it means risking and losing all of their items. And dog, this man H gotta be a certified magician because he already put this bike together like it's brand new. Bro is him. But then Parzival suddenly gets interrupted and has to leave the oasis as Wade then sneaks his way back into the crib only to get grabbed and then pushed against this wall and then smacks him. And Old Head was aggravated because Wade stole his gloves and gave him the trash ones, which caused bro to lose in a deathmatch. And I can't even blame dude. Now he has to restart all over again because he paid hella cheese for those upgrades. But then his aunt barges into the kitchen and Unc tells her that he spent all of their money that was supposed to be used to move out of this crappy trailer. And rightfully so, Unc smacks Wade in the face, putting that boy onto the floor. Nah bro, I'm actually crying. How do you get pushed around in your own house? Like, you know Wade was going through it, cause imagine having to sleep on a washing machine at night. I would have lost my damn mind. So the next day starts and my boy Parzival pulls up to Halliday's journals, which is basically a library about James's entire life, and obviously Parzival is trying to find any clues to obtain that first key. But this place really had every TV show, video game, or movie that Halliday liked, and you could find it right here. But Parzival heads over to the station and he starts observing this recording of Halliday and his partner Ogden Morrow, and after a while of analyzing and thinking, he decides to head out because he can't find any clues. But that's until...
Why can't we go backwards for once? Backwards. Really fast. Fast as we can. Really put the pedal to the metal, you know?
So Parzival goes back to rehear this recording to make sure, you know, he's not tweaking out right now. But at this moment, he realized that he needs to go backwards in his car as fast as he can instead of going forwards how he usually does. Oh yeah, that boy Parzival is about to get to work, baby. We then arrive at the race, but this time my boy Parzival is straight locked in. He's gatekeeping Artemis from knowing any secrets. He's like that one friend that finds a new banger song but does not tell a single person. But right as the green light flickers and the cars start accelerating, this man Parzival waits a cool 5 seconds, then looks behind him and starts driving backwards at full speed exactly as Halliday told him. But luckily, Parzival enters an underground pathway and he evades all of the obstacles right above him, driving with pure precision as he then goes past the dinosaur. But then right as Parzival drives over King Kong, bro starts smashing the ground. Like, I know the gorilla was straight heated, knowing that he was about to take his first L ever in over 5 years. And yet Parzival just officially completed this race, something that no other player has done, as a bunch of leaves start forming and that man Anorak spawns in with straight aura to greet Parzival for being the first one to finish this challenge. But I'm not gonna lie, the glazing is crazy, bro. Get off of your knees, Parzival. But anyways, Anorak hands Parzival the first ever key as he then grabs it while tearing up in real life. This means something to him. And Parzival being the winner, he also unlocks a new clue for finding the second challenge, so he already has a head start. And Wade was feeling himself, even bought an X1 heptic suit that he could use for the Oasis. Life is good, you know what I mean? Wade is filthy rich right now. But we then switch over to the head of IOY, Nolan Sorrento, who hops in his Megamind sized chair and he puts on his goggles, entering the Oasis. And his avatar's name is Bossman, who looks like a rip-off version of Clark Kent, took his whole flow, word for word, bar for bar. But he then stumbles upon an old friend named IROC, and these two start plotting on Parzival and want him wiped off of the scoreboard completely. But Bossman was on his Mark Cuban type timing. He offered IROC a crazy amount of coins to hunt Parzival down himself, and it was a done deal just like that. So eventually Artemis ended up winning the first challenge because she saw Parzival going backwards, and so H1 as well, and he passed on the secret to Daito and Sho, who in total allowed for 5 people to enter onto the scoreboard now. Like, I don't even know if it's worth getting a key right now, because you're gonna get straight bounties on your head like it's GTA 5. But now Wade starts doing some deep diving on finding the second clue to that challenge, and my boy is a straight tryhard because he got all types of articles of James Halliday glued onto his wall like he's Bruce Wayne trying to solve a case. But then Parzival heads over to Halliday's journals and he gets confronted by a bunch of fanboys trying to take pictures with him. But Artemis tells bro to lock in. You're famous now, you have to disguise yourself with a costume. But these two then head over over to some of Halliday's recordings to possibly find a hint, and they discovered that Halliday went on a date with a woman named Kira, and he was supposed to go dancing with her, but Halliday ended up watching a movie with her instead. Nah, he completely fumbled the bag, like some of y'all fumbling that one girl back in 8th grade. It happens. But Parzival says that this is the only time Kira is mentioned in all of Halliday's journals, and that must mean that she was someone special in Halliday's life. And Parzival's claim was so confident that he even bet a coin, and turns out he was correct. The name Kira was only said once, and so the curator gives Parzival a coin, which will come in handy later on in the movie, so y'all better remember this. So then Artemis invites Parzival to the dance floor to finish what Halliday didn't do, and he secures a date with her. Buddy was geeked as hell, so you already know my dog Parzival had to get ready for the occasion. And Buddy even put on a Thriller outfit. You are not Michael Jackson, stop all that glazing, little bro. But H, being a smart friend, is like, you gotta be more careful about who you meet in the OASIS.
She could actually be a 300-pound dude, and her name is Chuck.
So my boy Parzival arrives to the dance floor looking hella clean, and they got people dancing in mid-air. You know, everyone's just having a great time. Nothing could go wrong. But then Artemis pulls up getting ready to dance with Parzival. But while this is all happening, we see IROC in the back hearing everything with his earpiece, trying to gain intel on Parzival. Like, I don't even know how Buddy arrived this quickly, but we then get the cinematic scene with Parzival and Artemis having a little dance battle, and this absolute banger of a song starts playing, Staying Alive. And y'all, just know if I play the entire song, YouTube is gonna kidnap me and get me right out of here. But nah, these two really start cracking moves like they're playing Just Dance, out there straight schmooving. And while both of them are having a romantic moment, this absolute idiot of a buffoon Parzival says,
My name's Wade.
What?
Oh no!
Like, Parzival, you honestly gotta be dumber than Patrick Star to give away your real government name online talking about I'm in love with you. Buddy, she could be a Discord mod for all we know. You can't just be out here simping like this. But while these two are distracted, they get invaded by the Sixers, who are obviously after Parzival and want to eliminate him from the challenge. But they came fully loaded, blasting Parzival, forcing him to take cover. But Artemis was moving like John Wick, getting a quick kill on this soldier and then booming this dude into straight coins. But then these two start cooking, eliminating enemies around them while spinning mid-air like a helicopter. But this Sixer charges up his weapon, hitting Wade in the stomach, putting bro in pain, then proceeds to hit a weave, and then we see IROC unload his sniper rifle at Parzival and Artemis, hitting them point blank, blasting them onto a pillar. And these two are getting the JJK treatment, getting jumped from every single angle. There's not much they can do until Parzival throws a Rubik's Cube, which turns everything back in time 60 seconds. And they luckily get saved from a near-death experience as both of them head off into a small little tunnel and escape from the Sixers. But Artemis started crashing out, hitting a Spartan kick on Parzival as she tells him that she's doing this to stop IOI because her dad died because they raised his cost of living. Like, Chad, this is a nefarious corporation. They'll hunt you down in real life for a virtual item. But Artemis basically calls Parzival a straight up loser who lives in an illusion, simping over virtual characters. So we then pan over to Nolan talking to IROC on a tablet, and since the plan of ambushing Parzival failed horribly, this man IROC takes things to the next level by revealing Parzival's real life identity as Wade Watts. And y'all may ask, how is this possible? Well, IROC did this by searching through the database of players who recently bought the X1 Heptic suit. And yeah, it's safe to say my boy Wade is cooked, cause they plan on offing him in real life. Wade then gets a notification from Nolan, who's offering him a business deal, and so he immediately enters the OASIS, and you know it's serious because he allowed Parzival to enter his real-life office, revealing himself. And Nolan was offering this man a hefty $25 million in exchange for the Easter egg, which had this man Wade gasping for air. Like, bro, that type of money could retire my entire neighborhood. But after a bit of thinking, my boy Parzival says, nah, screw your deal, you're a hater and a disgrace to the contest. Like Buddy was just trying to take Wade's head off, but now he's trying to negotiate? It's a sick world out here. But Nolan was standing on straight business, told Parzival, "Your name is Wade Watts, isn't that correct?" And this had bro straight perplexed. He even started revealing the exact place Wade was at right now, telling him that he's inside of that dirty ad trailer.
He knows my name, occupation. He can find out about my family. My family.
And Nolan is actually evil, cause he's like, "I'm about to blow up your entire complex. Your friends and family, you can say goodbye to them." Like, brother, excuse me? You're about to cause mass genocide over a video game Easter egg? My dog, I promise you, it's never that deep. So then Wade takes off his headset and immediately starts panicking, running over to his aunt's house at the speed of light, moving like prime Usain Bolt. But meanwhile, these drones are literally planting live explosives on his house that his aunt is inside of right now, and he starts calling her saying, "Pick up the phone, baby." But Unc then grabs the earpiece, not knowing that he's in great danger right now, and Wade is like, "Y'all need to get the hell out of there." But Unc completely ignores him, only for the entire place to get absolutely nuked and blown into flames. As the building then starts collapsing on Wade, but he luckily escapes in the last second. Like, what the heck, bro? We got people out here real life dying over video games. And you know it's bad when they got this place looking like a Black Ops 2 Zombies map. And Unc, we're smoking on your pack. That's what you get for being ignorant. So Wade then heads over to his trailer and he notifies all of his home dogs that IOI came for him in the real world. But then out of nowhere, this bald-headed freak appears behind him and puts Wade to straight night-night. And Buddy even stares at the camera while doing so. Like, dog, that was not tough at all. Get this Timu Mike Tyson off of my screen. So Wade then suddenly wakes up to Mr. Clean taking off his blindfold, and they got bro tied up in a chair like he's Peter Griffin. And most of us watching were like, IOI must have sent one of their guys to capture Wade, right? But nah, he's greeted by this woman who sounds a whole lot familiar. And yes guys, this is Artemis, the girl that we know from the OASIS, whose real name is Samantha. And I can't even lie, I was not expecting her to look like this. I thought she was gonna have more of a Lizzo type build. But nah, this is actually a crazy coincidence, cause imagine meeting a random person online and they somehow live in the same city as you? This crap is literally something right out of a Disney movie. Look at how Wade is looking at her. Someone call up Dr. Omar.
It appears you've been snow bunnied.
But Wade and Samantha then get in their Sherlock Holmes type bag and they start unpacking the second clue. But they find out that the leap that Halliday didn't take with Kira was right at the movie theaters where he failed to dance with her. And if y'all paid attention, this is exactly what Halliday hinted at in his past recording, so this must be it. So then Parzival and the gang pull up to the curator and they start picking between which possible movie Halliday could have watched with Kira this day. But suddenly, Parzival remembers the clue, a creator who hates his own creation, and he picks the famous horror movie The Shining, and it's based on a book by Stephen King, someone who hated the movie. Like chat, these are elite detective skills. I'm not gonna lie Wade, you might actually be... So Parzival and the crew arrive at The Shining on a cold and snowy night, and right as they all enter the building, they get approached by a bunch of keys. And if y'all didn't know, there's over 200 keys in The Shining, so it's gonna take a cool minute to find what room they're looking for. But while the crew is distracted, we see a tennis ball rolled right behind H, and he makes the stupid decision to start following it around without even telling Parzival or the others. And then he gets met by two little girls from The Shining, telling H to come play with him. Like, hell no, I'm not coming near you at all. But then Parzival and Artemis suddenly arrive to the scene, but only a bit too late, because the elevator begins to start leaking out some Kool-Aid as it quickly begins spreading across the hallway. And that man H is straight fighting for his life. Someone send in some help. But in the midst of all of this, he finds a portrait of Halliday and Kira just chilling here, so that's a good sign at least. But then H enters room room 237, and it only gets worse from here because he starts getting attacked by an old woman with a knife, but H was moving like Goku, hitting weaves to avoid from getting sliced apart. As bro then falls to this underground place, only to get chased by a machete, but H had absolutely no clue where he was. Whole time, bro was trapped inside of the maze runner. Bro was never getting out of here. But H luckily dodges 2 swings in a row, and right as old lady was coming at him, he gets saved by Parzival and Artemis, who had his back, cause they're real ones. Like, nah bro, they had H getting straight traumatized. Me personally, I would have taken off my headset so quickly, cause I hate horror movies. So everyone starts skedaddling, looking for the clue, cause they only have limited time before the movie ends, but they suddenly all manage to find the picture of Halliday and Kira. And so Artemis and the gang find a ballroom right next to it, and so they enter, finding a bunch of zombies dancing with each other. But then Artemis spots Kira and she is terrified. Someone please save her. But Daito tells him that they only got 1 minute left, and so Artemis takes the leap of faith that Halliday never took, hanging onto a creepy zombie.
What did I just see?
But she eventually hits a couple of Mario hops on some zombie heads and comes closer to Kira, and she dang near almost got the Black Widow treatment, almost fell off the edge. But somehow she climbs her way back up to Kira, asking her, "Do you want to dance?" And she's like,
You know how long I've been waiting for this? Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here.
But everything then turns into dust particles as Anorak appears in front of Artemis, congratulating her for winning, and then he proceeds to hand her the second key as Artemis makes her way over and unlocks the next clue, which can help her find the final challenge. And now we got Parzival on the scoreboard as well. Like, these two are literally like Kobe and Shaq. Nobody is stopping them. So IOI immediately get on their reverse flash levels of hating because they start using Call of Duty drones to detect Mr. Clean, who's just minding his own business, and once they confirmed his identity, I just knew Wade Watts was the next target. Cause while bro is at base trying to crack clue number 3 with Samantha, out of nowhere we see IOI drones and soldiers invade their property. Like, they straight up broke in, giving no warnings, like they own the whole place, even tasing people, like my dog. Where's the police? But then these goons break this door down and they start chasing Wade and Samantha, but they somehow maneuver into this room last second, and Shorty, being a real one, takes one for the team and lets Wade escape while Samantha buys him some time. But to no avail. The IOI troops bust right in with guns aimed right at her, so you know she's cooked. But being captured isn't even the worst part, cause this girl tells us that Samantha is 23,000 credits in debt from the OASIS. Like, nah, imagine being virtually broke. I already can't afford to pay rent, but now I gotta deal with crap like this? Oh hell no. But then we see Wade sneak out of this vent like he's playing Among Us, only for him to get jump scared by this random person. Almost gave bro a heart attack. But guys, this isn't someone that we don't know, cause this is H from the OASIS, real name is Chuck, and she was catfishing as a 7-foot man this entire time. Like, nah, this is proof that you can't trust anyone online nowadays. Y'all better stay off them dating apps. People really think you get what you see off of Tinder, but in reality, it's just Rod Wave. So then Wade and Chuck sprint their way right out of this alley, only to get confronted by an IOI drone who's on their head top. But then someone hops out of the truck and hits it with a mean 3-piece combo, destroying this drone. But wait, hold on a second. Who are you? Chat, this is the Daito guy from the OASIS whose real name is Toshiro. Sounds like an anime name. It's tough, I can't even lie. But then these three quickly hop into this truck before IOI gets onto their tailbone, and they make their escape like they're the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But then we get introduced to the homie Sho from the OASIS, and I did not expect him to be 11 years old. He really had to lie about his age in order to sign up. You should not be here, buddy.
I'm a grown-ass man, dude.
16 ain't no grown-ass man game.
But then Chuck tells us that IOI has already cracked the third clue to the last challenge, and they got dozens of guards lined up waiting to play. But these boys are straight trash, cause it only lasted 1 minute before the ice broke. Like, what type of gamers y'all be hiring? Y'all should have signed me up. Like, they really had the entire department stressing what game they needed to play in order to win. Like, how do we tell you? Pizza, Mamma Mia, diarrhea, Parzival in 5. So then Bossman and IROC use this overpowered orb that's a level 99 magic artifact, which is basically an enchanted diamond sword, and they activate this thing by casting a spell. And after IROC says the magic words, a freaking gigantic force field appears around the entire challenge, which permits anybody from entering it. Like, how do y'all be affording these types of items? This is exactly why I quit playing video games. It's all pay to win now. But 5 minutes later, we see the crew finally arrive at Nolan Sorrento's rig to save Samantha, because IOI got her trapped inside of this pod without any escape. The guards really had Artemis working overtime to wipe off her debts and even tased her for not following commands. Like, dog, get me the hell out of here. What do you mean I gotta work a 9 to 5 inside of a virtual video game? You must have lost your damn mind. I would rather be stuck in prison. So while Bossman is about to leave the world, we switch over to real life, and this man gets met with 2 silencers aimed straight at the head. These 2 were not messing around, commanding Nolan to release Artemis from her cubicle now. And Unk simply had no choice. He backed down and told Toshiro the access code like the good boy he is. But chat, here's the crazy part, cause Wade was using a fake costume to disguise himself, and this right here is actually Parzival. They really hacked Nolan's rig and made him see illusions from the OASIS. Like, I can't even lie, that's top tier sneakiness. I gotta give Parzival his props. But the gang then somehow taps into Artemis's audio feed and gives her instructions on how to escape, telling Samantha to put her arms up and release these 2 handles, and she does just that, pulling it down and then sliding this lever to the left, which allows Samantha to be free. But then she tells Parzival to form an army and invade Planet Doom, while she tries taking down the massive shield that's surrounding the challenge. Like, I don't know if you have the facilities for that, big man. We then pan over to Nolan, who quickly catches the fake reflection of the real world and knows that all of this is fake. And so he takes off his headset and leaves his room, which allows for Artemis to find his rig, and she gets in with ease. But then Samantha logs into Nolan's account to deactivate the shield as quickly as possible. So my boy Parzival starts broadcasting himself to the citizens of the OASIS, demanding every player's help right now. And he starts moving like Optimus Prime, telling everyone that their lives are in danger and that they might lose their freedom. And Parzival calls out Nolan personally, saying that he's a douchebag and will never lose to him. Like, that's the energy we need right now. You gotta avenge your aunt after how she got turned into straight fireworks. It's get back time, baby. But we then switch over to Samantha, who barely leaves the seat in time before Nolan catches her, and she's out here playing hide and seek, running and hiding behind this couch, barely surviving. But then Samantha makes this Looney Tunes escape and skedaddles right out of the room without even being heard somehow. Like, dog, how did nobody pick up on her footsteps? Nolan really had his headset volume all the way down. He sold the bag. So now it's time for some action as Chuck activates the legendary Iron Giant. And bro, look at this absolute wallpaper of a frame right here. They really stood there and started aura farming. Who are you posing for, dog? But Parzival suddenly turns his back and he hears a bunch of rumbling, and the next thing we see is the entire OASIS server shouting and running towards them at full speed. Everyone and their moms really pulled up to help Parzival. Like, even my guy Bossman accepted his fate. His buddy even hit him with a classic shoulder pat. He knew he was cooked. A whole army of players rushing at you? I would have logged off so quick. I am not trying to get jumped out here. But Samantha eventually finds a vacant spot that she can enter the OASIS from, which allows her to disguise herself as an IOI soldier. But her mission is to deactivate this shield so that everyone can enter inside, because clearly they're all struggling right now. But then Samantha hides behind this pillar like she's Katara, and then pulls out a speaker drone, starts controlling it and flying it towards the orb without being spotted. And so Samantha starts casting the magic spell, speaking a bunch of gibberish that only XQC can understand. But she succeeds and causes a major disruption, disintegrating the entire force field to dust. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Samantha, I was not familiar with your game at all. But chat, here's where we get one of the most iconic lines in cinema history.
First to the king!
So So the final battle starts off with missiles flying, lasers blasting. I don't know what's going on right now, but it's a straight CGI fest out there. Like, this scene really had me geeked as a kid because we really got Avengers Endgame before it even came out. This movie is truly ahead of its time, but y'all are not ready for that conversation. But then we see Parzival driving around in his DeLorean, and he pulls out a rocket launcher, shooting it, and saves Artemis at the last second. But she tells Parzival that the Sixers are playing a game called Adventure on the Atari 2600, and basically they gotta make it quickly before they win the challenge, so lock in. But then Chuck starts going crazy, stomping on this NPC, and then hits a mean left-right combo, kicking this dude, and then straight up beams the crap out of this man. But then we switch over to Artemis, and she's cooking as well, blasting a few enemies and eliminating them. And then Parzival gets a ray gun and he hits an insane collateral, taking out at least 10 players at once. But then Chuck literally throws freaking Chucky over to Parzival, like, dog, are you trying to kill me? And so he tosses it out of his hands, and Chucky starts annihilating these players, stabbing them repeatedly over and over again. Like, nah, I would have straight up rage quit after that happened to me. Like, we even had little kids putting in straight work as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and these people even fighting as Halo soldiers. There's just so much chaos going on all at once. But this was just the beginning, because Boss Man then turns into this gigantic mech, and he faces off against the Iron Giant, who starts shooting his blaster only to get clocked right in the face, knocking the daylights out of bro. And then Boss Man begins burning the Iron Giant alive with some flames, and Wade is like, Daito, we need you right now. And that was all he needed to hear, because this man chooses the form of Gundam, and we get the coldest pull-up in the entire movie, as Daito then jumps off of that battle bus, diving down, and then transforms into his final form. Like, hoo, that's what I'm talking about. Like, watching this scene as a Transformers fan was actually so hype, bro. But then Daito clutches up, saving Parzival and Artemis from getting turned into a Goomba. But then he rises up and smacks Boss Man in the chin, and that single blow caused for loads of players to get squashed in the process. Dang. So Artemis tells Parzival to rush to the castle and win the final key while she handles some business. But then we see Boss Man knock Daito to the ground, but he rushes right in, hitting a clean left hook, then slashing him in the face. As he then goes in for a roundhouse kick, but Boss Man counters with a vicious right, sending Daito right back, as he then uses his shield to block the fire, but then Daito comes back in again, only to get thrown away like a piece of garbage, and it's looking rough for Daito. And Daito starts falling off the edge, as he only has 15 seconds before he returns to normal form. But Daito locks in, slicing Boss Man with his blade, and then he hits a Mario hop, coming down and hitting him in the neck. But it was just too late, as Daito then starts shrinking and turns into Kai Cenat form, and then Boss Man starts holding him up in his palm like a trophy and then eviscerates him into straight coins. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Daito went out like a straight G. Can we please get some RIP Daitos in the comments section? So Boss Man sets his sights on Parzival and Artemis, but right as he's about to fire, Giant holds his arms back, causing for the missiles to miss both of them. And then Giant hits a mean elbow followed into a right, but Boss Man had enough, as he starts manhandling the crap out of bro. But of course, Iron Giant had a trick up his sleeve, as he then elevates his arm and Artemis appears, then starts shooting the mech's eyes until she finds Boss Man sitting inside. And then Artemis gives him the stare of death before she finally pulls out a hand grenade, throwing it inside of the mech with perfect accuracy, causing for the bomb to explode, and it absolutely booms Boss Man in the mech as well. Like, nah, Artemis is actually nice. She might be the MVP on the team right now, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. But then Parzival and Sho head over to the bridge, but this man IROC activates a minefield, causing for the entire thing to collapse apart, giving them absolutely no chance to cross the bridge. But that's until the Iron Giant arrives just in time and uses himself as a platform, as these two then start crossing while getting shot at by IROC simultaneously. But this man started dumping the whole mag and actually clips the Iron Giant's arm, causing for him to hang on with one hand, but he gets shot again. So Sho pulls out a boomerang and throws it at the the right angle, which rips bro's entire arm off his body. Like, okay, sure, you might be 11 years old, but you still got that dog in you. So then the gang push right ahead and then start ducking down from all the laser beams, but Parzival commands Artemis to log out of the Oasis right now because Sorrento is out here looking for her in real life. And Parzival obviously loves Samantha, so he does her the favor by shooting her, activating friendly fire. But this actually saves Samantha because she manages to escape right before Nolan catches her, and so she finally leaves the IOI facility and starts booking it. But Parzival is under immense pressure, so he pulls out his hand grenade from his inventory, and when he throws this thing, it literally wipes out everyone in an instant. Oh my goodness, that thing is overpowered.
A few moments later.
But then Parzival and Sho arrive at the final challenge and see a Sixer trying to beat Adventure, but when he wins, he falls through the ice somehow. But guys, that's not the point. It's not about winning, it's about playing. Cause if you guys remember Halliday's announcement, the keys are invisible and hidden inside of a dark room. And in this game Adventure, you find the key by going into a secret room. I know some of y'all old heads know what I'm talking about. But suddenly, Parzival gets interrupted by IROC and Bossman, and this dude demands the key right now in return for $50 million in Parzival's account. But he said, nah, you ain't getting crap from me. But then IROC literally pulls out the catalyst, and if that item is activated, it'll wipe out every single player in the Oasis. Like, even IROC said, don't do it, bro. I got 10 years worth of stuff on my account. But Bossman did not give a single care in the world. He gave Wade the last warning, but he stood on business, kicking the item away, and these two get to straight squabbling. I'm talking hand-to-hand combat. They going crazy. As Bossman then hits a boom, boom, pow, and puts Wade on the floor, but those attacks were just a warm-up for him, as he then hits a mean triple karate kick on him. And then Wade charges up the coldest Hadouken from Street Fighter and launches it into his chest, but he's not finished, because Wade kicks Bossman in the nuts, and I know he felt that one, as he gets laid out like a picnic table. But luckily for Bossman, the catalyst is right next to him as he then picks it up slowly, but at the last second, Wade fails to reach it in time, causing for the entire Oasis to be wiped out. And look at how happy Nolan was when he found out that his plan actually worked. Bro is an elite level hater. He really said, if I can't win, then nobody can either. I respect it. But then we see Parzival and he's somehow still alive after the catalyst. And turns out he has an extra life coin that bailed him out. And if y'all remember, the curator was the one that gave this to him. So he's the only reason he's still here right now. But this absolute miracle causes for Parzival to appear back onto the scoreboard. And that man Nolan is straight confused. Didn't I just wipe out everyone off of the game? I would be sick to my stomach if I was him right now, I can't lie. So then we switch over to Samantha, who gets met by Daito in the gang, but she enters the truck and greets everyone. But while they leave the area, we see IOI drones hawking them down again, and Shorty right here was on a mission, told Nolan to let her handle this. But he said hell nah, and was like, I'm gonna pull up on them myself and bring a freaking gun with me. Like, dog, you are 50 years old, you've officially lost the plot. But now, my boy Parzival is being broadcasted to the entire world to watch, and he enters the invisible room, takes the dot with him, and starts bringing it to the main screen. In chat, if y'all didn't know, Adventure was the first ever video game to have an Easter egg put inside of it, and so Parzival finally succeeds as the TV then shuts off, and my boy has done it. He just beat the final challenge and got the third key. But meanwhile, IOI was on their tailbone in real life, preventing Parzival from actually getting the key, cause they were knocking these boys straight to the ground, out here playing Mario Kart in real life. Like, I promise you, video games are never this serious. But Wade finally gets his moment and pushes the key right in, and mission accomplished, guys. Wade has finally beaten Halliday's challenge. My boy is about to become a millionaire. So Wade then proceeds into this magical room, and now all he has to do is sign some papers and the Oasis belongs all to him. But Parzival knew this was a trap because Halliday made the same mistake of signing these papers because it was all a test. And so Anorak smiles like a proud dad at Parzival, and he's like, "Bah, right, you got it, little bro, you won." So then we switch over to Shorty jumping onto the truck, shooting it open, but she gets blocked away by Daito, and these two start boxing crazy, but Daito eventually gets kicked away, but Samantha comes in with a kick, only to get slammed into the truck and tossed away like a baby.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
But then Sho grabs this fire extinguisher and throws it at Shorty's chest, and then Wade turns into Sanji from One Piece and literally kicks her out of the truck mid-game with his headset still on. Like, okay Wade, I did not know that Jackie Chan was giving you some karate lessons. But the crew finally stop driving and they arrive at Wade's hometown. But then Nolan tries going to the truck, but bro gets swarmed by the entire village. They still did not forget how bro turned their house into a Minecraft server, straight TNT explosions. But then Nolan pulls out the blicky on them and everyone backs away, and this kind of pissed me off, bro, cause why are y'all backing away as if y'all can't just jump on top of it? There's like 100 of y'all. We then get a wholesome moment between Halliday and Parzival, and he finds the golden egg that he's been working for, and he finally hands it to him, and my boy Wade is ecstatic. He can't believe that this is happening to him. But of course someone has to ruin it all, as Nolan appears and ups the gun on Wade, but even a monster like him has to stop and admire the beauty of the golden egg, which results in Nolan not firing the gun at all.